Hey guys, kind of like a lot is going on. Go ahead, turn. Oh, okay, so as you can tell, like right out of the gate, I am sick. Now, my mom and dad and little brother all tested positive for COVID. I didn't get checked because I stayed back to watch my little sister. So I don't know. I feel like I I don't. It's weird. Like I haven't lost taste or smell or anything like that. None of those like major signs that you have it. I haven't even really got that winded necessarily. Um, but I just seen that we rolled over to 160 subscribers, so thank you so much for the ones that stuck around for my long absence, and for the few, like the 5 or 10 that showed up while I wasn't making videos. Thank you for staying and sticking around for the little time, and welcome. Um, Kind of a lot to talk about, and I've tried to make this video a bunch of times, and it's failure after failure after. I don't like this video. It's half an hour long, and I just do nothing but like stumble and ramble. So we're gonna try this one more time. Oh, so bear with me. I'm very congested, and my throat's a little sore, but nothing major. Right now, it just feels like kind of a flu to me. Um, but I don't know. I haven't got tested yet, and it kind of treats everybody differently, so I might have it. I don't know. Seems kind of weird that my mom and dad and little brother would, but I wouldn't. But also, my 2 buddies that I hang out with a lot, they got tested, and neither one of them has it. And one of my buddies is dealing with like the same thing that I am, with like the congestion and headaches and stuff, and his come back negative. So I don't know. I'll get tested hopefully pretty soon and can maybe fill you guys in on some stuff. I don't know. But the big thing that I keep stumbling on is like the Tank Tuesday stuff. As you guys know, I had, so you know where this is going. And we got a storm brewing outside. As you guys know, I had a redtail. His name was Titus, and also had a very large, like 14 to 15 inch iridescent shark named Gil, and a rather large Oscar named Wallace, along with a smaller Oscar named Freckle, and 3. I had 5 or 6 at one time, but over time of getting, they fought, and just weird coincidences and stuff happens, and I've got 3 bullheads left. But the part where I get caught up is explaining all that happened with Titus, but I'm going to do my best to make it short as possible. Wallace was being very aggressive in the 125, which is behind me, well, in front of me, behind you, and he was being very aggressive to Freckle, chasing her from one side of the tank to the other. Now, that's typical Oscar style. They are territorial. But she would hide, and he would go back to his corner. Whenever she would come up, no, that's silk or a gasket maker. That's stuck there for a while. He would chase her back over to this corner and then run her back over, and she would hide again. Every time she come up from behind that filter, he would chase her, and that was very unusual and very stressful on me and her. obviously her more. So I didn't think nothing of it. So with a Oscar, a 75-gallon tank is as small as you want to go for one Oscar. 2 Oscars, you need at least a 125, preferably bigger, just because of that territorial trait that they have. So I didn't want to punish Freckle by putting her into a smaller tank for getting bullied on, so I took Wallace and put him in with Titus. Now, I made a video soon after, and everything was hunky-dory. They were getting along. They even swam next to each other for a little bit and seemed fine. But just a few days after that video, I watched Wallace try to get under Titus' rock and flare up and try to attack him. And it was so violent that I pretty much was afraid to keep him in that tank with Titus without me being there to kind of go over and watch the whole time, because that was a very violent attack. Those rocks weigh probably 10 or 12 pounds, maybe even more than that, and he had lifted one of the rocks up. So I was very worried that he was going to try again and succeed. So sadly, I did have to put Wallace down, simply because he couldn't be in the 125. He was bullying on Freckle. The 75, he was abusing, trying to get towards Titus. He just got very aggressive just out of nowhere. And that's my two biggest tanks. Besides, I've got the 75, a 30, and the 125. My other 30 is in my sister's room. My 10 is also in my sister's room. So 75 and the 125 are the only two that he could be in, and he was aggressive in both of them. So he had no other options. I didn't have enough time to really take him and give him to anybody or put him up for sale or whatever like I did my female, because I had options. But with both tanks being aggressive in both of them, I did not have any options, so I put him down. And he is actually kind of being a pain in my hind end for about a month and a half. I noticed he was being aggressive kind of early, but I just tried to, shake it off, or I kept an eye on it, and after a little while, he would quit, but then it just ramped up big time. Well, so there's Wallace out of the picture. Well, then I started noticing Titus acting strange to something he's never did before, but I'd seen the 3 bullheads do. And that was, he would lay on the side and flip off real fast and swim off and like brush his body on the bottom of the glass and off the rocks and stuff. I just thought with the bullheads that they were cleaning off their area, because that's something that a lot of fish do, is they'll fin the area with their tails. That's why whenever you see fish that are spawning, their tails are bloody, because they take their bodies, because they don't have hands, and they clean an area out. And I thought maybe that's what they were doing. I was really hoping that they were going to start spawning, because each of my bullheads are about 10 inches long or so. And one of them was like very fat, so I was hoping they were trying to breed. Well, whenever Titus started doing it, I thought, well, that's very strange. He's only a few months old. He should not be nowhere near that age or want to be doing that. So I started researching it, which I should have done whenever the catfish started doing it, but again, it's a natural thing for a lot of fish. So whenever I seen him do it, started researching it, found out that he was itching and scratching himself. And the catfish had been doing it for quite a while. and the leading cause of itching is parasite. So whatever Wallace had, or the 125 had, Wallace had, and whenever he was unruly and I moved him to Titus's tank, whatever was in the tank that was on Wallace got over to Titus. And he started acting very strange, and I started researching it immediately. Found out that there is a medication, but you have to find out whether it's like a internal gill parasite or whether it's a skin parasite. There's different types, and there's different medications for each type. So I started researching, and but I couldn't find necessarily which one he had until the next day. He was breathing really heavy, and I thought, okay, well that's a gill fluke sign. So then I started looking up gill fluke medication. Found some at my local pet store chain, but I was unable to get any that day. So I started looking for different methods to medicate them, and I put some salt in there because that's just a natural. It helps with skin irritation, and it can help with some parasites. Some say that it can heal gill flukes, some say it can't. I don't know, but I tried it anyway. I didn't put enough in there to make it anywhere near brackish, just enough so that if it was going to do any good, it would at least start until so I could get the medicine. Well, that night I come through, and Gil, my very large 14 plus inch iridescent in the 125, was floating. That was the first fish that had died that I did not have a hand in, and I panicked. And immediately I was like, listen, we got to go to the store, we got to get medication now. And I bought every gill fluke medication box they had at 2 stores. Now granted, this was not a lot. I don't know, apparently gill flukes just kind of hit a high rise, or maybe somebody's just more prepared than me, I don't know. But they only had a few boxes of 2 different types. Lifeguard, I think, was one, or Safeguard, or something like that. And then the other one, they're over there on top of the 75. So we load up just really quick, and I go get every medication for gill flukes they had, and by the time I got back, Titus was very, very bad. He was swimming very irregularly. He was staying in one spot, and then he literally hit the point where he just stayed on the bottom, and he would barely even move his gills. So I didn't have enough medication to do proper procedure on the 125 and the 75. So I just took every fish from the 125, put in the 75, because that's small enough water gallons that I could medicate properly with both, and not have to worry. I could just take care of the 125, drain it, filter it, clean the stuff out, do what I needed to do. And I took all the fish out and started medicating, but Titus took a turn for the worst. Now, this fish fought like crazy, and it honestly hurt a lot to see how much of a fighter he was, and to just see how sick he was, just like that, out of nowhere, crazy sick. Now, I have a power head on the bottom of the tank that pushes water from the bottom across to the other side to help the water circulate. I was literally taking him and sticking his mouth on the power head to blow water through his gills, doing everything I could to keep him alive. And after 2.5 hours of steady watch, floating him, going back and forth, keeping his gills oxygenated, which a gill fluke attacks the gills, the fish notices it, doesn't like it, and its natural instinct is to try to suffocate the gill fluke with ick or slime, a slime coat, and just makes it worse. The fish can't get oxygen through its gills or from its gills, and they just suffocate. So I was doing everything I could to keep as much oxygen water going across his gills as possible, so that what little bit of function his gills were having were benefiting him. And I'm telling you, he fought and fought, and it was very upsetting to see. But sadly, he did not make it. I'm not done with redtails. I'm probably done with Oscars, because I can't have this happen again with an Oscar being a jerk and needing to get moved, and it was too much. If Titus, or if the Oscar Wallace wouldn't have been acting up the way he did, Titus would be fine. But Wallace left me with no options, and I had to move him for Freckle, and he transferred the parasites to the tank. I guess it is what it is, and honestly, this is the most composed I've been talking about this, which is why I think I've tried to make this video 6 or 7 times, and this is the first one where literally I haven't teared up. But now that was 3.5 weeks ago. I didn't just decide to stop making videos. I just couldn't get this video out. Tank Tuesdays, I mean, I am eventually going to get back into stuff. I'm thinking about taking the 125 and making it like a native type tank, a few smallmouth, a couple of channel catfish, excuse me, and a trout if I can catch one and keep it alive. I got a pool filter that's like high volume, and I think that'll give the current, the fast current that trout need to be happy. I can put gravel in it for the smallmouth, and there's logs and stuff I could put in there for the channel catfish and stuff. And I think that would be a cool idea until I decide to purchase another redtail. I think at this point I'm not going to get like a baby. I'm just going to kind of try to get one about the size of Titus whenever he died, simply because I got a very small one because of how fast I was told they were going to grow, and the lady said you don't have to worry about him growing extremely fast. The ones that I get don't grow extremely fast, and he really didn't. He grew like an inch a month, and I was told he would grow, and they're like, oh, they grow an inch a week, guaranteed. Well, this lady said they didn't, and he didn't, so maybe it's just the breeding pair of who supplies her redtails aren't the best of quality, and I don't care. But it definitely was hard to lose Titus. I guess a lot of people that are subscribed are here for Titus, or from Titus, the video, or videos of Titus. But yeah, just let me know what you guys think about the 125 and adding catfish and trout and stuff to it. I'm going to take the heater out because smallmouth and trout like cold water, and channel catfish just like water. So yeah, I've got a few more fishing rigs. I bought 2 new oh, excuse me. I bought 2 new catfish rigs. So that means I've got 4 now. One's my brother's, and I bought the 2 new ones, and then I got a bait caster that I've got set up for catfish. And then I bought a rod for one of my reels. It's a bait caster setup. So now, until I get tested to be sure whether I do or don't, I'm stuck at the house. I'm stir crazy, which is why I'm attempting to make this video again. We're at 20 minutes, so we're doing decently alright. I do apologize for being away for over a month. It wasn't planned. It's just been really hard to make this update video after Titus, trying to tell the people what happened. The bluegill's fine. It's in the 30 gallon. He's not really growing a whole lot, but he has the appetite of like a whale. So he's doing fine. Freckles fine. The 3 bullheads are fine. They're all in the 75 still yet. The 125 is very clear, but I just ain't feeling it right yet. I'm not sure whether I want to do more with like the 125, if I want to keep Freckle in the 75, put the bullheads over into the 125 and just add them to the list of fish that's going into the 125. Like add instead of like 2 or 3 channel catfish, just have the 3 bullheads and like 1 or 2 small channels, and a couple smaller smallmouth. I know a spot that I can catch all kinds of smallmouth about that big, and they'll learn to eat flakes and stuff and pellets. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. I do apologize again for not making a video for a while. I just kind of hit a point where I didn't want to pick up a camera. I actually lost the GoPro, but I found it. I hadn't wanted to use it, so I just sat it down somewhere and didn't find it till like 3 days ago. But yeah, that's pretty much what's happening. Not much has changed other than I got a go-kart, little bitty go-kart for my sister. Put a motor on it yesterday. Might film some stuff with it, I don't know. It's too small for me, but I might record her riding around a little bit. I don't know. But like I said, for the ones that stuck around, I noticed I did lose a few. And I mean, I can understand that. I'm sorry that I just couldn't do this for a while. For the ones that either come back or the ones that took their place, hopefully this is not a reoccurring factor. I haven't even edited a video in like 3 months. 2 months, 2.5, something like that. 2 to 3 months. So I need to get back into the swing of it. I used to enjoy editing, and then it just seemed more like a chore. And that's a thing that a lot of YouTubers go through. Editing just becomes a chore. It's not fun anymore. And I hate that. But hopefully whenever it's so fresh and new, I can enjoy it some more. Try some new stuff. New tactics and techniques and new tricks and stuff. But we're running up on 25 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and get out, or end this video. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate you being here. Thanks for 160, and let's just stick around to 200. Later.